Welcome to the maiden edition of Real Talk on Silver Television. Oh yeah, the program that promises to be an engaging show that dissects contemporary topics, contemporary issues, societal issues, and topical concerns of everyday Nigerians. I'm not just here alone. I'm with my exciting co-host. Hello, ladies.
Hello. Hello,
How
everybody.
are you doing, Damilola? So,
fantastic
quickly,
today.
tell us, how excited are you?
I'm very excited because I know that a lot of Nigerians have been waiting for a real talk show. So we're here dishing it out as real as it can be. Trust us, we are for you and we're with you.
Oh, yeah. So, Efo, I know that you, the moral grounds in us, among the panelists. So, can you address the audience?
Hello, viewers. I just want to say welcome to Real Talk. Real Talk with Kike.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well, you said hello, ladies, and I was going to dance to hello, ladies.
Yeah, I think it's
So it's good to be here. It's Real Talk with Kike. My name is Marshall Anthony Ononye, and like Dami said, we'll be giving you real gist. This is the Real Talk show. Stay with us. You'll enjoy it.
all right. So, you just heard, we call him the husband amongst us, and he's
yes.
the one that has married the 4 women. Of course, we have Lolo with us, but she's running it as usual. She's a woman with an entrepreneurship, so to
many
speak.
parts.
So, when we return, we will look into our major topics of the day. But before then, listen on this day in history. We'll be right back.
On this day in history, 2nd February 1942, Major General Johnson Thomas Umunakwe Aguiyi Ronzi, a senior Nigerian military officer and second Nigerian head of state, enlisted in the Nigerian army. He seized power in ensuing chaos following the January 15, 1966 military coup, serving as the Nigerian head of state from 16th January 1966 until his murder on the 29th of July 1966 by a group of mutinous Northern Army soldiers who revolted against his government in what was popularly called the July counter coup.
All right, many thanks for joining us again. I'm very sure we've educated quite a number of people on this day in history in 1942. I must ask my ladies, who was born in 1942 at the time? What were you doing? I think Efo is the only one among us that is.
I'm not really. Not really, Kike. I wasn't born in 1942.
All
wish
right.
I was anyway.
Okay. All right. So, all right, moving into the business as the day, we have the representative of the first cities of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on the show, Mr. Femi Adesina. He is on the show to dissect and analyze the most pressing concerns of Nigerians. Within the last few weeks, there have been quite a number of pressing issues, ranging from insecurity, economic recession, and replacement of security chiefs, and so on. And of course, we have our guest via our Zoom line right now. Hello.
Hello.
All right. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Adesina.
Good afternoon. My pleasure to be on this show.
All right. Many thanks for joining us today, despite your busy schedule. I must start first that, it's great to have you on the show today. And I'm very sure that you've been keeping safe and of course, staying safe, correct?
Yes, we do. We leave the rest to God.
All right. I don't think I heard that properly. But if you can hear me, on a positive note, I'm sure you can hear me. You can hear me, sir, because the audio
Yes,
is quite not too clear at my hand. On a positive note, like I said earlier, while we know that governance and development is a continuous process, and there are a number of credits that we will give to the Buhari administration. Can you kindly use this medium, sir, to quickly highlight the credit of Buhari's administration?
Yeah, thank you. I hope you can hear me now.
It's much better.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, it's like asking me to recount a journey of almost 6 years in a few minutes.
Okay.
But if you are going to assess an administration, you have to now consider it vis-a-vis the promises it made. What were the promises the Buhari administration made, particularly while campaigning in 2015 and then in 2019? 3 things. We will secure the country. 2, we will revive the economy and provide jobs. 3, we will fight corruption. Those were the 3 main promises. And you can see that since 2015, the government has been working at keeping faith with these 3 promises. To a large extent, they are not all accomplished. But has progress been made? Yes, a lot of progress. And it is still work in progress. In terms of securing the country, as of 2015, when the administration came in, not less than 17 local governments among the 774 we have in the country were under the occupation of insurgents. And when I talk of occupation, they had their flags planted in those local governments, and they had declared some sort of caliphates. They were running those local governments. As at today, not an inch of soil is occupied by the insurgents compared to 17 local governments in 2015. Those who live in the Northeast particularly can tell you that between 2015 and now, a lot of progress has been made in the insurgency war. Yes, you still have sporadic attacks, but it's not as bad as it was in 2015. And as we go forward, I believe that this government will take care of that challenge before it exits in 2023. Some people may say, well, there are other challenges, Northwest banditry, Southeast, Southwest kidnapping, herdsmen, farmers clashes. Yes, there are challenges, but as they come up, they have been tackled. Security is very important to development. So this government will not joke with security at all. The economy is something that is also being worked on. You see that before the pandemic happened, the COVID-19 pandemic, early last year, our economy was like a plane ascending with its nose in the sky. And so all the variables were positive, they were good. And suddenly the pandemic occurred and it affected the whole world. So now restart the journey. And we are on it. The economy is making steady gains and steady progress. In terms of anti-corruption, the statistics are there. Recovered loot, repossessed property, a lot of people being put on trial, and so on and so forth. So in terms of the 3 focal areas the government gave itself, I think a lot of progress is being made.
For that submission, and of course for keeping us into the loop of what you've done thus far. I think my other co-hosts have a question for you. Let me start with Marshall. Marshall, what's your question for our guest today?
Certainly. Mr. Femi, it's good to have you once again on the show. Very quickly,
Thank you.
I'd like to ask, when you say that the security is nipped in the bud or is not as proliferated as it was in 2015 when this government made its maiden entrance, even you yourself, while fielding questions very recently to another media, had said that the herdsmen crisis, which you said has always been there, was not as intense as it is right now. So it begs my curiosity as to how to place side by side what you've just said, that the security problem or challenges wasn't as proliferated as it is right now, given especially also the agitations by Nigerians to sack, quote unquote, the Fulanis from Nigeria recently. How would you, what would be your submission on this?
Thank you. Like I said on that previous appearance, the issue is even older than the country, and it is still there. But now the tendency is higher because a lot of things has been mixed with it. You have politics mixed with it, you have hatred mixed with it, you have a lot of negative things mixed with the Fulani herdsmen issue. A lot of people who don't wish the nation well, who play politics with security, have delved into it. And so they are exacerbating matters. I'm not saying that issue is not there, it is there, and it must be resolved, but a lot of people, particularly people with political motives, are making it worse. They are definitely making it worse. But government is working at it, and it will do its best on the matter. There was a second part to your question. If you can jog my memory again.
Well, you seem to have delivered on that. But I was going to ask a follow-up. I don't know if I may, but
Yes,
with the
was a
absence
latter
of
part-
town halls,
there
we
was
had
a latter
expected
part
that
to
we'd
the
see
question.
regular town hall meetings, especially on security matters with the presidency and all that. With the absence of that, I wonder how you gauge or measure the agitation by Nigerians and the needs of Nigerians in terms of security.
Well, the government does not live in the sky. Government lives among the people. Government can feel the pulse of the people. It is a participatory democracy. There are representatives of the people. They get feedback from their constituents. So that is, there's nothing that is going on in the country that the president is not aware of, that those who serve in government are not aware of. I'll tell you an instance. One night, I went to see the president at home. That was in 2017 or thereabout, when there was talk about hunger. So I told him, I said, Mr. President, there's a lot of talk about people being hungry in the country. Is there some sort of palliative that can be made available? Mr. President said, I am aware. He said, people from my own constituency in Katsina State get in touch with me and they tell me. So he said, now that we're here, we will do the best we can do. So it shows you that even the president is in touch with people in his constituency. That is democracy for you. So government is not aloof. It is not far removed from what is happening in the country in terms of security, in terms of economy, in terms of hunger, in terms of food security, whatever. Government is aware of what is going on in the country.
All right, Amilola, what's your question for our guest today?
Mr. Femi Adesina, thank you so much for joining us. There was this post about you saying that only God can give us victory. Sir, from my point of view, it comes like it's from an overwhelming point. When somebody of your magnitude is saying only God can give us victory, is it like we do not know certain things to do, or because they actually are overwhelming for us?
Thank you. You know that there are some people who have made it their stock in trade to twist whatever I say. Whatever I say, they will turn it upside down. They would leave the major thing and they would focus on the minor. They major in the minor. I wrote an article on Armed Forces Remembrance Day, January 15, and there was this video of some soldiers who were celebrating and rejoicing. And one of them said, we are Nigerian soldiers, and we will finish this insurgency war. We know that victory comes from God, and we will get that victory. So I wrote an article on it and said, truly, victory comes from God. So let's pray for our soldiers. And then one newspaper which specializes in twisting whatever I say went to twist that statement. Then I say, President Buhari does not owe Nigerians security. It is God that will give security. You see that what I said was different from what the newspaper reported. Even President Biden, when he was being inaugurated on January 20, how did he end his speech? Said, God bless our troops. That shows you that even America knows that in security, the God factor is very important. So as we fight insurgency in the Northeast, banditry in the Southwest, kidnapping in different parts of the country, the God factor cannot be discounted at all. It is the God factor that will give us security. But that does not mean that there must be an abdication of responsibilities. Anybody that says I said that is a twister, is a willy willer, and that is the stock in trade of some people. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, we will go on a quick break, but first a word from our sponsors. Do not touch that dial, because when we come back, we will start from the God factor. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, if you're just joining us, we have the special advisor to the president, Mr. Femi Adesina, who has just joined us via our Zoom connection to discuss, the general issues we're having in Nigeria. Again, many thanks for staying with us, sir.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. So, sir, as the spokesman of the presidency, you are the middleman between the Nigerian public and Mr. President. So, my question to you, there are tensions-driven moments, so to speak, such as NSAS, we have economic recession, and insecurity pressures, so to speak. How do you describe the response rate how would you describe the response rate of the presidency to the public tension, if I may ask?
Thank you. Well, the presidency derives its legitimacy from the people. Without the people voting in the president in the first place, he has no legitimacy. So he is responsible to the people. When the people therefore demand certain things, such things will be considered. But because the presidency is also in government and in power, it has a broader view than people may have at times. So their requests will be considered along with the broader view, the broader picture. And eventually, the president will respond. When the answers happened, there were, I think, initially 4 points demand, and all the 4 points were acceded to. That is responding to the demands of the people. When other demands come, they will be considered. Some may be immediate, some may be in the short term, some may be in the medium term, some may be in the long term. So the populace cannot expect that everything will be done like a quick fix. No. Government has a larger picture, and things will be done according to that larger picture.
All right. So, Efo, what question do you have for our guest today?
Mr. Femi Adesina, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd just like to know at what point or how is the government, the federal government, how are they managing our diversity? Because quite a number of groups in the country already feel that they are marginalized on all sides. It's drifting to the west now. We're talking about the South a while back, and now we're talking about the west. So people are feeling they're marginalized. I just want to know how the federal government is abreast of managing our diversity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It is a perennial issue in Nigeria. Managing our diversity is a perennial issue. It had always been there. Even pre-independence, it was there. There was a time that somebody moved a motion for Nigeria's independence, and some parts of the country said, no, we are not ready. We are not ready. We don't want independence now. So that managing diversity had been an issue that is older than independent Nigeria. What were the issues that led to even the Civil War? Managing diversity. Managing diversity was what led to the Civil War. So it is something that we have had to contend with. every administration in this country has had to contend with the issue of managing diversity. It is not something that is just contemporary. It had always been there. And the way it is, every administration will continue to contend with it. So it is not now that some parts of the country feel aggrieved and they feel they are holding the shorter end of the stick. It had always been there. It had always been there. Every ethnic nationality in this country has its grievances. But the issue is, if you have grievances, are you then going to pull the roof down on everybody? No, no. We will still have to manage our grievances. And despite those grievances, we continue to exist within the polity. If everybody says, to your tents, O Israel, will there be a country at the end of the day? There will be none. So, unity in diversity is what we must continue to aspire for as Nigerians.
All right, many thanks for that, sir. Let me quickly open our phone lines. You can please call us and give us your perspective of the topic at hand. This is what we call Real Talk, and we call it Public Real Talk. To share some of your Real Talk on the show, please call on 081-1888-112. Let me take that again, 081-188-8112. And of course, you can tweet to us on our Twitter page, Real Talk with Kike. And let me quickly let Damilola take on for our guests to ask another question.
Mr. Femi Adesina, I'm going to come from a more subtle angle this time. It appears to us that most times when you're on Twitter, I don't know, is it safe to say that probably the tension of the day sometimes gets at you? Because Nigerian youths are more of, oh, Mr. Femi Adesina is ready for gbasgbos, like they say. Is it a prepared thing? Like when I get to Twitter and they say anything that is ill, I'm going to double dose them. I don't know what's your perception of that, or do you just feel that you're being too witch-hunted for Nigerian youths?
No. I don't have that. I don't have that feeling at all. I just say what I need to say, and I try to say it as decently as possible. I don't believe in uncouth language. You know that on Twitter you have all sorts of people. But I don't believe in uncouth language. Whatever I will say, I'm going to say it in the most decent language that is possible. And that is how I engage on all social media platforms, be it Twitter, be it Facebook, be it on Instagram, be it even in the traditional media. I believe in decency and I believe in proper communication.
Thanks for that. So, sir, I must ask you, I understand the presidency has the mandate to resolve national issues by virtue of the power and invested in him. But my question now is, in some cases, some of these policies may not align with that of the majority of Nigerians as we speak. Do we have a case of less public, involvement in the policy making, or just a case of criticism, so to speak, against the presidency?
Well, you will not be able to say that it does not align with the expectation of majority of Nigerians unless you have done a scientific study, which I'm sure you have not done. If you have done a scientific study, you have to tell us the sample size of the opinion you took, from which part of the country, and this was what they said, and this was what they said. You have not done that. So I'll just say that may just be a private or personal opinion, which is not scientific. What the government tries to do is to meet the expectations of as large as possible a number of Nigerians. The presidency or the president himself is the one that has the mandate of Nigerians, and he cannot cede that mandate to the public. He cannot, because it's the people that gave him that mandate. So if some people come with some expectations, they come with some pressure. No, he does not have to see this mandate because he was the one who campaigned around the country, he was voted for, and he was inaugurated as president.
So sorry, sir, I have to interrupt your thoughts there. We have a caller on the line. He's from Lagos State, Okoye. Hello, Okoye.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Okoye. Turn down the volume of your TV set.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
You need to
Please, can you turn down the volume of your TV set, please?
I've done that.
Okay.
Okay.
Absolutely great.
I want to ask Mr. Adesina, has he heard that there was the shoot at the making in the hospital, that the doctors had come to confess that there was really shooting at the making?
turn it down.
Take out the volume completely.
All right, I'm sorry, I might have to cut Okoye off from there. You know, let you go, Efo. What question do you have for our guest?
Okay. Mr. Adesina, sir, I would like to come from the angle where we speak about the common man on the streets. And they are really quite worried that the federal government of Nigeria is not concerned about the welfare. It's an everyday thing. They don't care about light. They don't care about, when we talk about light, we are talking about power. They don't care about power for them. The prices of food items, you know, are skyrocketing on the daily. You know, the electricity company at its worst hiked the tariff, and now people are no longer getting light the way they used to. So I want to really know what the federal government is doing about the common man on the streets. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. If there is one president who has the common man at the center of his heart, we know it is President Muhammadu Buhari. The strength of this presidency is actually the common man. That is the strength of this presidency, because you need to see the president anytime he makes a public appearance. Who are the people that swarm around him? They are the ordinary people, and they are the people you talked about. The tendency among those set of people is that, yes, they want a better Nigeria, but they know that the president is doing his level best for them. They know that he's doing his level best for him. In the north, they call him May Gaskia, the honest man, and they flock after him wherever he appears. President Buhari is a president he's a president for every Nigerian, but most importantly, for the common man.
All right, many thanks for that, Mr. Adesina. We have a caller on the line. His name is Olumba from Imo State. Olumba, you have the floor. What question or comment do you have for our guest today?
Good morning. Well, good afternoon.
Good morning.
Yes. One afternoon to you, Mr.
All right. I think that we need to. I have to cut this now. We'll quickly go on a quick break. When we return, we'll go straight to our guest. All right, many thanks for staying with us. Like I said earlier, we have the special advisor to presidency, Mr. Femi Adesina, with us. He has been engaging us in the last 30 minutes. But first, I think one of my co-hosts have a question for Mr. Adesina. Let you take the floor. Marshall.
Yes. Mr. Adesina, well, the last question which you were asked, we had a call which interrupted that, but I'll just reiterate what my colleague Efo was asking about filling the polls of the common man, because yes, you did say in Katsina, when you were answering one of the questions, that they flung on the president whenever he's making public appearance. But I wish I could also say the same when he goes to the southern part of Nigeria or to the eastern part of Nigeria. I am sure the calls we've received so far, Lagos and from the east, I'm sure they'll be itching too to ask for the same to be replicated whenever the president is in the South. How do you plead?
Well, I didn't mention Katsina. You said in Katsina. No, it's, as far as I'm concerned, all over the country. You know, in recent times, because of the health challenge in the past 1 year, the president has not made any public appearance in the country. Most things are done on Zoom now. But recall when the president came back to this country in 2017, I think August 19 to be precise. He had been away for about 8 months on medical vacation. That day he came back. Oh, you needed to see what it took him to drive from the airport back to the villa. The streets were thronged by people. And who were these people? Ordinary people. People that were not mobilized, people that were not procured, people who naturally came out to receive their own president. And that is a national thing. I've been with the president around this country. We got to the 36 states in the country before the 2019 election. Every part of the country, there is an enthusiasm to see their president. Whether it's South-South, whether it's Southeast, whether it's in the North, anywhere, the president has an appeal around the country.
To use this opportunity on a lighter note to say that I want to commend the presidency for the action of replacing the security chiefs at this crucial time in the country's challenges that we're facing, basically. But my question is, what amount of political interference do we expect to see in the delivery of his job, of their jobs?
No, the president is not somebody that interferes. When the president gives you a job, he leaves you to do it. And I can say that on good authority. There are some occasions I, as his media advisor, will go to him and I'll say, Mr. President, this has happened. What do you think we should say? And he will tell me, that is why I have you as my advisor, as my media advisor. You will be telling me what we should say. And that is how he acts to every of his appointees. He leaves them to do their work. No appointee. I heard Minister Fashola on television one day saying since he became Minister for Power, Works and Housing in the first term, and now Works and Housing in the second term, that the president has never, ever interfered in his work. He has not sent anybody and say, give him this contract. He has never said, do it this way. He said the president just called him and said, these are the things I want from you. He mentioned the priority projects in the country. Second Niger Bridge, Lagos Ibadan Expressway, Abuja Kaduna Road. He gave him Port Harcourt, Enugu Port Harcourt Road. He gave him all those roads and he said, I want them delivered in the lifetime of this administration. That is how the president operates. He just gives you his expectations and he leaves you to work to meet those expectations. He never interferes. Those service chiefs will not have to cope with interference in any form, despite the fact that the president himself is a retired general. He will let them do their jobs.
All right, many thanks. I was just told that we have Apostle John from Benin. Hello, Apostle.
Hello, madam.
Yeah, good afternoon. What do you have for, what question do you have for our guest today?
Please, I'm so grateful Mr. Adesina analyzing what he knows about the president. But we are grateful. But one thing we should know, that woman has a capacity of trust in Nigeria. And that is where the problems of Nigeria are. If anyone will advise the president, or whoever president that will be coming, how do we put this in place? Number one, look at the whole state. All around tried in high position. In the police, in the military, in the whatsoever area. Now, if the South all should be dead tomorrow, that means Santos will not try again. It's not the same place. So he answered us for time. Yes, We all voted for Buhari because why? We know what me and the government wanted to do. But today, we are not seeing that. But it's a father to us. The Bible says we should not rebuke others, but we can let him know our feeling. We are not seeing what we voted for. So let it be. Every state needs to have their people in the position, like in Edo State. We need to have an army, which is in Edo State man, have to be there. So the police, so that they will govern the place. Where we will have this in Nigeria. Not all one tribe, in all,
To that.
in all.
All right. So, Damilola, sir, what do you have to say to what the caller just said now?
Well, maybe you can give me a summary of what he said because I didn't quite hear.
Damilola, let me allow you to do the recap for our guest, please.
What our guest was trying to say,
Our caller, rather.
What our caller was trying to say was the inclusion of everybody in the country, which I think you have already mentioned by saying that the president is a man that believes in unity, that believes in togetherness. But my question to you particularly now, I mean between the Sunday Igboho saga and the Nigerian government of the day borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. But let me go with the Sunday Igboho saga and the Fulani herdsmen. I'm sure that you're very much aware of the situation, and we also saw that the Ooni of Ife went in a closed-door meeting with the president. Is it safe to say that Nigerians are safe? Or how long is it going to take to tackle this menace? Are we going to sit back and watch fellow Nigerians maim other Nigerians and our hands are going to be tied? Or the president has started putting in place, because I think that probably Sunday Igboho himself should have been invited to the federal authorities to look at parameters in judging this particular matter. But how safe are we in the southwest, particularly, sir?
Thank you. While the federal government has an oversight on security around the country, there are also chief security officers in the different states who are the governors. And the governors, I think, are playing that role, particularly on the Fulani herdsmen saga. I don't want to talk about an individual. That Fulani farmers herdsmen saga and quit notice to Fulani led to a meeting between Southwest governors and the stakeholders, the Makban, Mieti Allah, farmers, local communities, and all that. That is the way to do it. Did you see federal government there? No, because under the constitution is the role of the states. In Nigeria, we have the tendency to think everything rests at the doorstep of the federal government. It's not correct. It's not correct. In such situations, it is the states that have the right to look at the security situation in their respective domains. And that was why it was the governors who met with the stakeholders. In Nigeria, everything seems to have been centralized. Somebody causes trouble at the ward level and is causing President Buhari to come and settle it. Somebody goes to light fire in his community and he says President Buhari should come and put it out. No, it's not like that. It's not like that.
Many thanks, Mr. Adesina, for sharing part of your lunchtime with us today. Of course, you've been able to engage with our audience and, of course, our followers as well. And I must say that the honor is ours. Again, thank you for joining us on lunchtime on Real Talk with Kike. So, quickly, to my fellow colleagues, my co-hosts, what's the recap of what our guests have just shared now? I think before you share your thoughts, we'll quickly take a break and return after one of our words from our sponsors. Okay, thank you for joining us again. This is Real Talk with Kike on TV. And of course, we've been engaged by the special advisor to the presidency, Mr. Femi Adesina himself. And I'm very sure my co-host and my colleagues here have had a lot of questions to bombard our guests. So, Dami, what's your opinion? What do you draw from everything that he has shared with us today? And how do you think that we are moving forward thus far?
Well, if the spokesperson to the president, the spokesman to the president, the man who is in between the president and the masses says that the president loves us, I mean, it's just for us to believe that. That's the only thing we have to hold on to. He says the president is the man of everybody. He's a man of inclusion. I think we will just accept, for the quotes, accept. But really, is it, because when things happen, we truly ask ourselves, do we have a president? Because like the last thing he said, that the Sunday Igboho saga is supposed to border on the states as the governors are the chief security officers. But sometimes these things feel overwhelming, even for the governors themselves. And there's some infiltration of political inclination, like this person is, the Sunday Igboho saga was already brewing, no, it's APC, I'm across PDP, no, it's PDP who says you should do this. Is it really about that or about our well-being and our safety? But since the president's spokesman said we should do like this, we are like that. Well, I think we'll just hope for the best. And we'll keep praying that God will give us a lasting solution.
Well, for me, an hour is not enough to, bring all the facts from the discussion we would have loved to have with Femi Adesina. However, we appreciate what he's tabled to us already. The issue of federal character in appointments, in even these new service chiefs which you mentioned, and how they will discharge their duty, people are still talking about it, to say, and he himself was quoted as saying that right now we don't even have anybody from the South who's competent to handle certain positions as the chief of army staff or chief or defense staff. So these are things that are very questionable. These are things that are bordering on the minds of Nigerians, many of them who feel that what the federal government is dishing out right now from its mouth to the public is nothing to write home about. But well, we thank God for the much we have gotten from him. Efo.
Okay. For me, I just want to say thank you to Mr. Femi Adesina. We have heard from him. We've heard from the presidency, since he's the spokesperson for the presidency. But I also think it would be good for him to take a word back to the presidency, to say, the people are saying you are not feeling our pulse. Everything he says is just fine. It's okay, but Nigerians are going through. And this is the only nation that most of us have as Nigerians. And we want to be beneficiaries of the wealth that God has blessed this nation with. Nigerians are not asking for too much. They're just asking for the basics. He has told us, so please take the word back also to the presidency about the way Nigerians feel. Thank you.
All right, many thanks for that. I think we are running out of time, and I would just have to say a recap that it's obvious that the president has a mind of unity in mind, and of course having the mind of the people at heart. And again, I would just have to end by saying God bless Nigeria, and I cannot forget the God factor in all of it. But before we close the curtains of the day, let me remind our audience that our last co-host, which is Lolo, I think she just needs little introduction because quite a number of people know who Lolo is. She's an actress and of course a media entrepreneur. Of course, she will be joining us on set tomorrow with Damilola. Of course, on Thursday. But till then, when we come again to give you real talk, keep being real, and bye now.